Hey friends, if you have scoliosis and want to feel lighter and stronger and taller, come to my free Curve Lengthening Lab on September 7th and September 11th. In 2 live sessions, I'll show you how to safely elongate your spine, reduce compression, and use simple props to get real pain relief fast. This is perfect for beginners and seasoned movers alike. It's live on Zoom and you'll get the replays. Save your spot at the link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Hi, welcome back to Ahead of the Curve. I'm your host, Dr. Megan Teed. And today we're diving into a topic that doesn't come up actually that frequently. I got this question in my DMs on Instagram, and they were asking, what is the difference between your Cobb angle and spinal rotation? First, let's just talk about why this even matters to begin with. A lot of people, they know their Cobb angle by heart. They're really familiar with it. It's something their doctor talks to them about often, especially if you're an adolescent and they're monitoring your curve to see if it's progressing over time. But scoliosis, as you know, is a 3-dimensional condition. It's not just a 2-dimensional condition that you can see on an x-ray. So let's clear this up today, and we'll talk about why both matter for your health, comfort, and your daily life. What is a Cobb angle? The actual definition of a Cobb angle is the standard measurement your doctor uses when looking at x-rays. It shows how sideways your spine curves, measured in degrees. A really good analogy of this is it's like looking at a tree from the front. You can see the lean in the tree, but you don't know if it's twisting or not. So, if you're looking at the tree from overhead, you might be able to see more of the twist, and that twist is rotation. This is why someone with a small Cobb angle can still have a visible posture changes because of that rotation element. It's not just due to a Cobb angle. And doctors, this is how doctors measure it. I'm going to give you a little bit of step by step with this. And if it's not interesting to you, you can kind of scroll ahead. For my nerds and info people out there, listen up for this one. So, what they do first, they identify the end vertebrae. So, like the top part of the curve and the bottom part of the curve. So, it's the top vertebrae and the bottom vertebrae that are the most tilted. And then they draw baseline lines along the end plates of those 2 points. And then they draw a perpendicular line from those baselines. So then they measure the angle where all those lines intersect. And then you probably are familiar with this, maybe not. Having a degree of 10 degrees, having a Cobb angle of 10 degrees or more indicates that you have a scoliosis. If your curve is less than 10 degrees, then that isn't actually considered a scoliosis yet. And then from 10 to 25 degrees, it's usually monitored. This is like the lovely wait and see time period or range. And then we have 25 to 45. It's generally braced if you're a teenager or a child in this range. And then once it gets above 45 degrees, then sometimes we're considering surgery. Now, what is rotation? The definition of rotation is the hidden twist of scoliosis. It's when the vertebrae, they don't just lean, they spiral. And one thing that makes me laugh when people come and work with me or they're just talking to me about their scoliosis, they're like, Yeah, I don't have just a side bend, I have a rotation too. Like, and it it makes me chuckle because everybody has a rotation. It's like, I'm sorry, I know that you might feel a little bit special that you have some rotation, but everybody that has scoliosis has rotation, you know? Um, and I think it's just maybe the way that that person was told that they have rotation maybe made it sound like, "Oh, it's, like, unusual for you to have sorry. It's unusual for you to have rotation," but it's actually, like, everybody that has scoliosis has an element of rotation as well because that's what makes it three-dimensional. That doesn't just side bend, it rotates as well. And now the impact of that rotation, that is where we see more of like the visible changes in the body structure. We'll see the rib prominence, the uneven waistline, your shoulder blades sticking out, and sometimes those symptoms show up even before the Cobb angle is measured or they even figure out like that they have a scoliosis. Those are the things that they start to see. Maybe a parent is seeing those in their child, like, oh gosh, like your one shoulder blade is kind of sticking out in your swimsuit when we're at the beach, and or they notice a pant leg is shorter on one side than the other. Um, those are the things that are usually noticed before um, it's picked up on an X-ray or something of that sort. Now, how is rotation measured? It's measured through the most commonly through something called the Nash-Mo method. And what they do, they look at the pedicles on the X-ray. So the pedicles are the little like prongs that stick out the side on a vertebrae. And they look at where the pedicles are in relation to the center of that vertebrae. So if there's different grades, so they basically like section that vertebrae into different pieces, and there's 4 different grades that they will use, and it depends on how far the pedicle is shifted over to one side or to midline. Um, so if it's more shifted towards midline, then it's more rotated because the pedicles are supposed to be off to the sides. And then when the vertebrae rotates, the pedicle gets closer to midline instead of being out to the side. And there is another way that it's measured is there's a special tool, and I can't pronounce it very well. It's called the Perdrioli torsion meter. I'm probably saying that wrong. I don't recall actually. I feel like this must have been called something else when I learned it in the Schroth method when I did that training, because I do not remember this name or this word ever before, but it's an actual tool and it's more precise. It's used in research settings. And then finally, there is the Adams test that's used in clinics like me. We use the 4-bend test with the scoliometer. And that's where probably your scoliosis was found to begin with, from doing that forward bend test in a screen or going to your doctor's office. And this is a different measurement. So this is a clinical measurement. We're not looking bone depth at this. We're looking at the bony landmarks from your surface. And this is a way that we monitor progress. So it's really cool. Rotation is something that is able to change a lot more easily than a Cobb angle, honestly. Rotation also creates more pain than the Cobb angle. So if somebody has a small Cobb angle, but they have a ton of rotation compared to somebody who has maybe a large Cobb angle and not much rotation, it's likely the person that has more rotation and a smaller Cobb angle experiences more pain than the person with the higher Cobb angle. But on the flip side of that, it's easier to make a change and make an improvement in somebody's rotation than it is to make a big change in their Cobb angle. So the way that these two things work together, the Cobb angle shows that side bend, that side to side bend in the shoulders, the ribs, and the hips. And then the rotation shows the twist. Think of it like a spiral staircase. The Cobb angle measures the tilt. Rotation measures how much it twists around. So combined together, they influence the amount of space that you have to breathe. So the more rotated and side bent you are, the more difficult it will be to take a large breath on that side that is more collapsed. That's due to, compression on the lung, twisting of the diaphragm. So when you're really rotated, it really impacts your diaphragm. And then also it affects how well you're able to contract your muscles as well. In the past couple of episodes, I've talked about the difference between, or what side do you need to strengthen? What side do you need to stretch or open? And we touched a lot on some of these things, but when you're really rotated and side bent, it makes it really difficult for your muscles to engage and all operate and work together, especially in the core that supports your spine. Your core is made up of your diaphragm above, your pelvic floor below, your transverse abdominis in the front, and then your multifidus in the back. So it's a nice big canister. And then our canister with scoliosis is side bent and rotated, making it more difficult for the muscles to coordinate and fire with movements versus somebody that's more symmetrical. It's a lot easier. And then there's also the balance aspect. The more side bent you are and rotated, it is affecting your center of gravity. So you can take a picture of yourself and draw a line from, if you're standing hip distance apart, you draw a line from right in the middle of the feet the whole way up through, just straight up to the ceiling from there. If somebody is more side bent and rotated, they're going to fall to one side of that line. And you can imagine, let's say I'm really side bent and rotated to the right. When I go to stand on my right leg and hold my balance, I'm going to kind of fall over because I'm already really far beyond that leg when I'm standing. And then if I'm trying to stand and hold my balance on that leg, it's going to be really hard to pull myself over to the left where I need to be in order to maintain my balance. Versus if I were in that scenario to try and balance on my left leg, it's going to be quite a bit easier because it's pulling me more towards my center of gravity. And finally, it also affects how how your clothing fits, your appearance, and your posture. What I was mentioning with the clothing or wearing a swimsuit, all those things, it affects how all of that fits. One of the most common complaints that I have or have in the past, it actually doesn't happen so much anymore, but in the past, my right shoulder, my bra strap would always slip off that shoulder, or if I was wearing like a spaghetti strap dress or something, it, it would always slip off my right shoulder, but not my left shoulder because I was very uneven and asymmetrical because of my side bend and rotation to the right. But the more that I'm working with that and aware of that, the more shelved my shoulders are on both sides, and the less often I have stuff like that happening. So, doctors and insurance companies, they track your Cobb angle, but what you feel on a daily basis often comes from your rotation. Your rotation can change day to day based off of your hormones. So generally when you're on your cycle or on your period, if you're a female, um, you tend to be more rotated during that time just because of hormone shifts in your body. So you have to work a little bit harder to keep yourself derotated during that time. I recommend focusing on the myofascial release, the three-dimensional breathing, using your wedges, using your props to help with that derotation during that time. And then your stress level can also influence the level of rotation that you have. Find the more tense and stressed I am, the more rotated I also am. And, there's only so much you can do sometimes to affect your stress levels, but, just understand that if you're really stressed and then you're also hurting quite a bit, likely it's because your rotation has increased. So, the ways that you can influence the rotation, like I said, is breathing exercises. So that three-dimensional breathing, doing myofascial release to help free those tighter tissues, strength training once you find that more balanced alignment. And our goal is obviously never perfection. We're we're just trying to make little improvements day by day. But, you know, the biggest thing that you can help yourself with is how well you're able to function, your comfort level, and your confidence. So, kind of in closing, your Cobb angle is only half the story. Um, Rotation is just as important in how your scoliosis feels to you in your body. In my programs, I focus not only on managing the curve, but also teaching derotation strategies so you can actually move and feel different. And right now, I have the doors open to join my free 2-part training. I mentioned this in the beginning, but make sure that you check out the link in the show notes so that you can sign up, even if you can't attend live. I will be sending out a recording after, but I do recommend trying to come live because there's special little rewards for those, or a chance to win a special reward for showing up live. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, being engaged. If you are enjoying this podcast, it helps other people to find me if you leave a little review. Um, And if you're watching on YouTube, just making sure you're subscribed so that you can always be notified about these episodes, and hit the like button. Thanks, and stay well. Until next time, stay ahead of the curve.